Hello, everyone. Mackie here, and welcome to this special episode of the Mid-Season Madness. Now, we are decided to diverge from the team previews for now, of course, and dive into something a little bit different. Now, this may be hampering my rankings and all kind of stuff, but I wanted to do something fun. Ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at the mid-season invitational 2026 pickups powered by AWS, which, by the way, they're not sponsoring this. And today I am going to do my best to pick and choose the winners and all that good jazz to see who wins and who will egg in my face. Now then, this, by the way, is how we do the pickums, of course. They will do this from the 17th of June, which is today at the time of recording, to the 27th, and then, of course, the knockout stages from the 30th until the 1st of July. Now, these are the prices, of course, for being select, I don't know, making your picks. If you make a pick, you get one of these emotes. If you make 50% of your picks, you get two of these emotes. 25% you get these three emotes. And then if you get a perfect bracket, you get the Covenant Jin skin with all the emotes. And by the way, I will link this description below. There you go. I will link this description below down there if you wanted to be part of the pick'ems, but you gotta do it before the 27th of July, which is where the play-ins will take place. Okay. And by the way, there's also a crystal ball event to predict the meta and earn the awards. So without further ado, it is time for me to get this thing started, ladies and gentlemen. Now it is time. Now first, we have to do the pick play-ins. And I will like to say that this is probably going to be the easiest of them all. I think it. Let's just listen. Let me be perfectly clear. I believe that T Law is having a decent chance against T1. I'm not saying that Team Liquid would not have no chance against T1 because name value and Faker and all kinds of stuff. And the way T1 have been playing throughout this entire year with their Circus Lee act kind of stuff, there is a genuine sense that I think T-Law might pull it off. Faker have not been great in the laning phase, of course. Carrier is still the carrier. Owner has been decent. Duran International is going to be a little bit different than Duran in the domestic scene. So I will have to say that T1 in international events are going to be a little bit different than the T1 in domestically, as per versa. Now, T-Law, they have some decent players, of course. Jose Dodo has been incredible throughout the entire, split, including the finals, of course. I think if you take away the Lions' performances, you can say that Jose Dodo was the best player on a losing team, to be honest. And you can say Yon has been pretty decent. Courage being JJ has not been great. And Morgan has been fine, I guess. But I think the focus is going to be on mid lane. And I think Quid has to show up and just neutralize Faker. Now, that doesn't mean that he can beat Faker. Well, no. I think he might learn his lesson. It's just like he used to play versus Faker, of course, a long time ago. Actually, no. I think he's been playing in Academy. But he knows about the history. He knows about the stakes. He knows about the situation. And I think David Shinelock is right. I think you have to go in for Team Liquid with confidence to say that they will have a shot, to say that they will have an opportunity of a lifetime to knock off one of the best teams in the world. And by the way, this is the very first match of MSI. Imagine if you are a NA fan and your very first match will be against T1. You must be thinking, I'm out of here. I am dead out of here right now. But, there is a world that T-Law could pull this off. They can pull this off. If they can play their cards right, you can catch T1 playing, wild circusly acts. If they can do that, I think they can win. But unfortunately, history is not in their favor. And, the player skills is not in their favor. And the reputation is not in their favor as well. I think, in my heart and hearts, I want T-Law to win. But in my head, and the way the League of Legends is played, I gotta go with T1. I think T1 is going to be too much for them. KC versus D Cross Gaming. Now, I did a video, by the way, about Deep Cross Gaming, and I did not even give Deep Cross Gaming the love that it deserved. And I did make a 7-minute video compared to like the Team Secret Wells one, which is about 21 minutes, giving more details, talk about it. But the reason why I say Deep Cross Gaming would have no chance because the lack of player knowledge that I don't know of course, and the lack of experience that these players will never have. Like, listen, Decor getting in their first ever MSI tournament, and other than Chelsea and other than like the support, like basically no players have ever played international games against a Common Core team who. Yes, I know. Like two of those players have never played internationally. Although Kalist did play in first stand. I think Yehu is the only one that has never played internationally. I guess. Okay, I'm kind of confused. Okay, that game, just go to the chart. Just go to the chart, Akeem. Just go to the chart. Just don't be a dumb boy. Just go to the chart. Go to the chart and find out. Okay, just go to the chart. Okay, you don't have to make this. You don't have to make this harder than yourself. Just go to the chart. Okay. So if you look at the chart, by the way, and by the way, you look at the stats, and now, hmm, let's look by the way of the international and age. And as you can see here, you can see the comparisons between these two teams. One team, but yeah, KO has never played an international game. He never played an international game. This is his first time playing internationally, of course. Kana, Yike, Kalist, and Busio, they've already been there. Mostly Busio, of course, on the back of their MSI and Worlds quarterfinalists with FlyQuest. Yike, of course, in some of the time with G2. So you can say that at least Casey have experience. Deep Cross Gaming have like virtually no experience other than Chelsea. That's it. And on paper, you could say that Casey could win this thing. But just like my video on Deep Cross Gaming, they have to show me something. They have to literally show me something to prove themselves that they're just not here to make numbers. They can just at least play well. Because I watched Psychopathic Boro's video about Common Corp, in which yes, they all have the talent. They all have the team to do it. But we have seen lapses of this team, not performing well. We see Kalist being a little bit full of itself with ego, trying to flash in and get kills, but unfortunately get died. So if the Cross Gaming can channel their aggression and just punish this Common Corp and force them to make mistakes, I feel like Common Corp could lose a game or two. Maybe the series, of course. But that is a hard, and I mean hard road to get. I go with Common Corp to win this. Meaning I have T-Law versus DCG for the lower bracket, and then T1 versus Common Corp for the upper bracket. Let me just start with the lower bracket. And I have to say that if Liquid loses to DCG, you will never hear the end of it from David Shynock. You will never hear the end of it from Spawn, and you will never hear about it. I will pick T-Law to win. But I will say that this will not be an easy series. Here's a reason why. I think the history between, LCS and LCP teams have been pretty much documented over the last couple of years, in which it feels like on paper you're looking at this and, oh, LCS is just way better than LCP. That's easy. But if Deep Corp came in to show me a decent series against K Corp, let's just say Deep Cross Gaming loses the series 3-2 or 3-1 in a decent game and put up some fight but loses in some games against KC. That might make Team Liquid fans all the more nervous because now you see how Deep Cross Gaming is playing decently well, and maybe T Law might feeling like, oh, we this might be a more nervous game than we're supposed to. Now I will give T Law the win, but it would be so embarrassing if Deep Cross Gaming would win. And of course, for my bracket, of course, because I really want the perfect bracket, of course. So that means that T Law is going to win. Now for the upper bracket, and this is okay, this might be a 50-50 match. This might be an absolute 50-50 match right now. Oh, jeez. Maybe I'll go with T1, of course. Maybe I might go with T1 to win this series. But Carmine Corp are a threatful team, of course. I think they might say that Carmine Corp could put up a fight, of course. I mean, they are a good team, decently. And if we compare these two teams in terms of stats, I mean, experience is pretty much in favor of T1 by a mile. You already know that is. If you look at the comparisons, the early game, 50.8 to 58.1. So T1 just dominated early game. But if you look at the late game, neither of them have good late games, of course. So both teams are pretty much favoring the early game as much, in which like the early game is being most dominant And if you're trying to win like in the first 15 minutes, I think you can do that. But the problem is, and I've been hearing it from the Let's Cover Korea, from Degon and Wolf, from the Last Free Nation, Korea has a tendency to throw leads. They are not the most stable when it comes to leads. And they want it to be like more chaotic, more egotistic, and all kind of stuff. And Common Corp, as we've shown from the G2 series in Versus and maybe in Spring, they have a tendency to fight back. They have a tendency to team fight, of course. And with the dynamic duo of Busio and Callista, I think the bot lane is going to be the real eye opener for this. It's Callista versus Busio. It's Kyria versus Pace. It is going to be absolutely cinema in that bot lane, of course. I think that's going to be where the matchup will be. Jungle is also going to be important with Yike versus Owner, of course. That'll be a really tough one. So I think this is going to be a coin toss for me. I think that if T1 goes to by traditional standards, I think T1 will win. But there's a part of me that feels like I think Common Corp might get this. So should I pick Common Corp to beat T1? Should Common Corp pull the upset against Faker and the team? The answer is no. I just can't look at that. That means we get EU versus NA. And as Spawn said in an interview with Kangas after the series, he has never lost to EU. So let's just put that to the test. I think that this is going to be a tricky series to call. I think if T-Law were to do well against T1, and I believe if you can say that KC can pull up a win or two against T1, maybe might pull the upset, but who knows? I did on my favor, KC. So I think we're looking at this as a 50-50 matchup. I think the jungle matchup between Jose Dodo and Yike will be interesting, of course. The mid lane matchup between Quid and Yo is going to be KO will be absolutely incredible. Ball lane is going to be a pretty tough one to call. I think top lane between Kana and Morgan is going to be the most interesting matchup. Kana can also play the dominant champs. And of course, by the way, the meta is going to be changing to some bruiser junglers, of course, which could favor mostly Cozy Dodo, I guess, because he's not have the play style he's going to get with the lead sin and all kind of stuff. So this might heavily favor KC, of course, and wherever Jose goes, so does the Team Liquid team. But I think you can look at KC and all the body of work. I think KC might have a chance. So I'm sorry, David Shynock. As much as I love you and I want you to see the T-Log go through, I'm picking KC to win, which means we get the KC T1 matchup. And if the first matchup can say that, oh, maybe T1 might win this, I think the second matchup might do it. It's going to be a tough series to call. Maybe it's a 3-2 series, of course. Maybe the second matchup could be favoring T1, of course. Maybe Comic Core might win. But I have to go with a safe bet, and I go with T1. I have to literally go I have to go with the safe bet, and I have to go with T1. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is how I pick. I pick T1 to beat T-Law. I pick Common Core to beat Deep Cross Gaming, and then I got T-Law to take on Deep Cross Gaming, and then T1 beat Gaming Corp in the upper bracket, and then KC to defeat T-Law, and finally T1 to beat KC for the upper bracket 5, and that means T1 will be the last representative to go to the MSI bracket. And I did not put any score lines here, but those are my predictions. Anyways, let me see what you think. Do you think my predictions are cool enough to win, or do you feel like I'm a jerk and just being a faker lover, I guess? Let me down know in the comments what you think about it. And make sure you go to the website to get your pick-ins in for your play-ins. By the way, the knockout stage is not open until the 30th, of course. So please do your best to try to pick your pick-ins and get your emotes as you can. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe for more League of Legends stuff, and I will see you all next time.